Hi, the Brisbane Broncos are 0-2 after losing to the Parramatta Eels 40-32, and for the second week in a row, they have no one to blame but themselves. This is a game where the Broncos were so convinced of their ability to score every time they had the ball that in the time that they didn't, they were just so keen to get it back that they weren't really worried about how that would happen. Yeah, whatever. Let them score. We'll just run through the middle of them again. What's the worst that can happen? Blow a 12-point lead, giving up 3 tries in 5 minutes, committing 12 errors, and giving away 8 penalties? Like, that's going to happen. Last week was disappointing, this week was infuriating, and it marked the unwanted return of something that is common amongst every single Broncos team, the championship teams included, the bad teams, the in-between, the dumb Broncos. Dumb Broncos is baked into the DNA of the team. This is a quote from Wayne Bennett during the Broncos' inaugural season in 1988, talking about errors by Wally Lewis. He can't play 5 balls, we score off 2 and they score off 3 going the other way. We couldn't win in Sydney if we didn't get the errors out of our system. We were giving other teams more opportunities than they were giving us. A Sydney grand final is just minimised mistakes. So that's the greatest coach in the history of the sport, talking about the greatest player in the history of the sport. And I'm sorry to tell you, Wayne, the errors are kind of baked in at this point. These are load-bearing errors. Nearly every single team in Broncos history, most of which have been loaded with talent, with rep players, sometimes more than they know what to do with, despite whatever ability they've had to score when they've got the ball, have had to deal not only with the opposing team, but the dumb Bronco inside their own mind. The one that says, offload Ashton, that says, put that drop out short, Adam, yeah, and now do it again. That says, give him a shove, All Blacks, who's going to know? Stay in that tackle longer, Hakeem Haas, no one's going to see you. I thought Haas was immune from dumb Broncos behaviour, but it gets the best of them. And dumb Broncos was in full effect on Thursday night. Probably more concerning than the continued presence of dumb Broncos, which is just something that every Broncos team will have to deal with, is the return of the complacency which we saw in the early part of 2024, the first sign that the Walters Empire was about to crumble, when the Broncos would score 2 or 3 quick tries, look unstoppable, then figure that was probably enough, put the cue in the rack somewhere before halftime, concede a couple of tries and let the other team back in the game and figure, well, it was so easy to score before, we'll just do that again. Eventually fall short and lose a game that looked sewn up. And probably what makes this game sting the most is that they started so well. I thought this was going to be the game where they completed this season's challenge, play 1 regular game of football, which might actually be impossible. But they got upfield from a penalty, forced a repeat set, and then it only took them 3 tackles to get in a position to set up on the left for the big Walsh play. And Para are so worried about the options that play presents. Samrani's got a 2-on-1 and Karapani is wide open that they forget the most dangerous man on the field is the one with the ball in his hands, and Walsh is through. 6 minutes later, they find their way upfield again without much difficulty. Jensen takes a hit up on the tram line, and it's time for Carrigan to get into his office work. Just a reminder from last season, this is Carrigan's office right here in the middle of the field in this space where he's surrounded by options. It's the Broncos' best method to get from one edge of the field to the other, and when he makes this shape, you're cooked. And he gets the ball to Reynolds, it's a set play for Ricky and Stacks to chase a kick, and it's another 6 points. The next set, they get a chance to really sink Para. Reynolds sparking a massive break on second tackle within their own 30. They push left, then Walsh kicks back to Staggs on 4th tackle, and it's a really great effort by Pezzett and Adokar. Pezzett basically just cannonballs his head into the ball to dislodge it from Ricky, but the Broncos end up getting the ball anyway from a dropout for some reason, and after another 2 sets, Katoni slips and has to put in a kick which Sheba can't tap back. But at this point, Parramatta haven't touched the ball for 10 minutes. The Broncos have broken their line once, scored 1 try, bombed another, and forced 2 repeat sets. They are all over them. They're at 100% completions. Corey Jensen's already run 100 meters, so hello, dumb Broncos. Jordan Ricky Highshot to give away a penalty, and not even 30 seconds later, Kelmar Talangi has scored his first try. And I hate to say this, but this is giving me plenty of 2024 vibes, cutting back between Ezra Mam and his edge defender. Not that Talangi even cuts, he kind of just runs between Gashevsky and Mam. Walsh can't stop him, but you have to credit the effort from Pakes. Without Piakura, the Broncos have real problems with big mobile edge forwards, and every single team has those nowadays. It's their weakest position in the roster. Gashevsky is passable at best, but on this play, he's far too narrow, especially when his inside man is Carrigan and his outside guy is Mam. He goes up with the line, but again, it's just out over his skis, tops, pops, and misses everything. And while Mam has some impressive defensive highlights, it's usually him hitting centers or sliding and tracking guys down. He's not going to go one-on-one with a guy like Tuolangi and come off better. And Pezzett knows exactly what he's looking for. There's hardly an advantage to press. He just wants to check the matchup and he wins. If you're a basketball fan, you might have heard Chris Vernon's team-building mantra before. Just don't play guys who suck. And if you can generate a line break by just giving a guy the ball and having him run directly towards his opposite number, might be the case that that guy sucks. I think in these first 2 weeks, we've seen that unfortunately Gashevsky just isn't at NRL standard. And Mam should be helping in the tackle, but he's not got physics on his side when Gashevsky is diving backwards like that. Jack did get HIA'd in this game, so he'll be unable to play next round, which is a small mercy to everyone. But hey, still 12-6, Para only got up the field for a penalty, and the Broncos are still in control of this game, and they look to steady the ship when Ezra manages to recover the rebound of his own kick, and I still don't understand this decision. And still, not Cope Zone, The Broncos lost because of their inability to contain dumb Broncos, but I have watched this again multiple times. I've done the slow-mo, I've checked all available angles. It doesn't look like it touched Stags at all, and if it did, it was only because Russell knocked it into him, but Ashley Klein says it touched the hands of both players. Keyword there being hand. Tony's hand is a foot away from the thing. They were dudded. That should have been 6 points and an opportunity to woo up. They turned it into 2 points instead, but they shouldn't have had to. Again, it's the bunker, they're going to get it wrong more often than they get it right, but I just wish they didn't. And I think we can say that scoring that try wouldn't have done much to stop dumb Broncos from setting in, because they scored with their next opportunity with the ball anyway. Carrigan gets into his office again and gives Hakeem Haas a no-look last possible second pass at an angle that is backwards, but it's the angle of the slice they give you at the office pizza party when the company's reported its largest profit for the third straight year, but has no money for bonuses. But it's perfect down to the atom. He puts the ball through the large Hadron Collider, but no celebration from PNG Paddy. Maybe because he knew what was coming, because it's not much later that Adam Reynolds gives away a set restart on fourth tackle with Paris still inside their own half for reason of, I don't know, the camera was on Madge. So you know what that meant inside the Tallis household. 2 tackles later, Iongi is running past Reynolds, and he beats him badly enough that Reynolds has to stay behind the tackle, leaving Walsh at marker and giving Pezet an ocean of backfield to kick it into. And how many balls like that has Haas caught? Enough that you expect he's going to hold on to it. It's a bit of bad luck that he can't hold it, and worse luck that it spurts out beyond the space where Walsh is trying to recover into. But it's well played by Para. They were doing everything right, and those are the kind of opportunities that present themselves when you do. Some Broncos come back straight away when Walsh puts the kickoff after the try dead. He's got about 2 of those in him per season, so I'm glad he's got 1 out of the way. Eels get great field position for free and just run the same play for Tuolangi with the extra wrinkle that Dylan Walker steps in as first receiver to hold up the line. Tuolangi is running a man wider between Sheba and Ezra, and the Broncos are just out on their feet. It's bad defense being beat by some great attack. Walker plays the ball late enough to keep them honest, then Pezet plays it as late as he possibly can, keeping his options open for the 3-on-2 in the backline. Just remember that structure. It will be important for later. Assuming communication breakdowns is difficult from seeing the game on a screen, but you have to assume that no one was saying, wait, who's guarding that guy none of us can tackle? And if anyone did, then they all just said at once, not me, and watched Kelmer score his second. But that's tackle 3 after a penalty on the set after points. It's not a great sign for round 2. Also, Dylan Walker has been a great footballer for a really long time. I've always had a bit of a soft spot for him, even if he's from New South Wales, and he was great in this game. Just pure veteran nous, bit of experience grub stuff too. Dumb Broncos come back straight away. Benny Fragrance being done for a slow peel on tackle 1 from the kickoff. Then not much later, Olbrich Tafa, who's come on for Gashevsky's HIA, gets caught up in a tackle in the middle of the field, and Para know what to do right away. It's the same thing everyone does when an edge gets caught up in the middle of the field. They spread, and every Broncos player is so terrified that Tuolangi is about to get his third, so much that Ezra and Willison, who's come back in cover, have both prepared for Tuolangi to get the ball, and in doing so, they're not so much presenting a line, but presenting a gap, which Isaiah Iongi runs directly through. And it's the 3-on-2 they had earlier, except it's Moses making the play this time. Iongi gets Sheba with the double pump, and it's over. Broncos go into the half down 2. Second half, Para go in again after Walsh drops the ball for no reason whatsoever. Basically, he's just not looking. Then Para go back to that right edge again, which has already scored 3 tries, and they're rolling. Every member of the spine touches the ball on the way to the try line, and the Broncos are faced with having to defend that edge again when Para haven't had to do much at all to get themselves there, and Para pull off the set play. Basically, a retreating Sheba has to stop a full-speed Iongi and can't, but it's a tackle he's made before. Broncos hit back, and this is what makes it so infuriating. It was so easy for them to get up the field, and they just score kind of without any plan. They take 2 hit-ups in the middle of the field, basically out of confusion, before Reynolds gives it to Mam in a way of, I don't know, you do something, and he puts in an absolute seed for Katoni, who gives us another example of his new Spider-Man Selly that I'm yet to understand. That makes it a tie game, but it doesn't last long because Para are back over not much later, but this time, it wasn't entirely dumb Broncos' fault, because apparently now you can just carry the ball loosey-goosey into the line and drop it, but if you're tackled at the same time that you drop it, it's played at. I must have missed that in the new rules that dropped, like the forearm being part of the hand. But then dumb Broncos comes back straight away, and they don't set the scrum in time and give away a penalty instead. But in a way of like, we'd rather not defend our line again, so how about we give away 2 points? What's the difference? We'll just score another try. And I don't know if that's gamesmanship or intentional or just dumb, but for me that was a bit of an admission that they weren't able to stop the Eels. The second half is kind of saved by Stags and Walsh's tries. Walsh's try especially is the kind that gives you the hope that this team can still do anything, and the chip and chase is the most awe-inspiring play in rugby league, but it papers over how much they were outplayed. Tafar's getting into a push and shove, Stags gets done for a lifting tackle, for which he actually wasn't charged by the match review committee, even if by the rules that's a lifting tackle. Looks like the spirit of, come on, it's footy, 1 out. And more times than I even wanted to count, the Broncos had no one at marker. I don't know how that's possible for a professional team in 2026, let alone the defending champions. And Riley Smith and Talon De Silva were dining out on free meters. Then Para were just crunching Jensen and Haas in defense. I've never seen anyone put Hakeem Haas on his back before this game, and they folded him. But Para were getting through their sets, playing with structure, having fun with it. Moses and Ballo ran the same trick play twice in a row out of scrums, while the Broncos were playing for intercepts. So when there's a ball bouncing around just before the try line, the football gods reward the more ethical team, and Russell somehow manages to put it down while Broncos players trip over each other. Such a good kick by Pezet too. Despite all that, being thoroughly outplayed, making a whole bunch of errors, more poor discipline, the Broncos had a chance with 3 minutes to go to win the game. Fifth tackle, they go for the big set play. Carrigan gets the ball in his office, he finds Hunt, who finds Walsh, who is about to put Staggs through with Josh Carter beat and Dean Mariner outside him, and Staggs drops it. This isn't cope. If Katoni catches that ball, the Broncos win, but they don't. Para make it down the Broncos end, and on fourth tackle, 2 minutes to go, Dylan Walker has Hakeem Haas on his back, and the guy who's played 254 games of NRL knows a thing or two about milking a penalty, and he gets the 6 again, and it's just too much. Walker goes close, Talon De Silva goes closer, then on fourth, Para set up right again. They've got Pezzett and Moses ready, with Tuolungi and Iongi both raring for their third try. So Walsh, Carrigan, and Willison all get out of the blocks quickly to try and shut it down and possibly keep the game alive. Williams has to play the ball, and Pezzett takes it above his head, looks off Moses and his teammates that have been responsible for 4 tries on the night, comes back into the middle to find empty space between Pakes and Ricky and backs himself off the boot. It's an insane play for a 23-year-old who's played 20 games at first grade and is only playing his second game with his new club. Just put it off the toe and go. Picks himself off the ground and beats Carrigan to the spot, and that's game. Now, welcome to the Cope Zone. The Broncos lost the battle, but they won the war. This was actually good for the Broncos because, little thing about Jonah Pezzett, I don't know if you know this, he's only an Eel for a year, and he's going to be a Bronco, hopefully, for the rest of his career. Everyone knows he's good, but it's nice to see him prove it with a try, 3 try assists, and 2 line break assists, performing at Suncorp as well. The only real positive I can draw after watching this game back is that he's incredible. Can we have him now, please? Game day squad additional stat of the week is for Pezzett. He gets plus 100 potential and plus 50 clutch scoring. Do with your week's scores what you will. Anyway, ticker gutless index. I'm hurting. There was too much dumb Broncos in this game, and I'm lashing out. As at time of recording, it is Monday morning, and I'm still angry. So hence, all gutless. 3 to 1 for best on ground. I'm going to do something I haven't done before and award some future points. Jonah Pezzett starts 2027 with a 3-point head start. Walsh gets 2 points, then 1, I guess. Katoni scored 2, but the errors again this week are displeasing. I don't want to do Haas because of the 6 again. Carrigan. Actually, you know what? Corey Jensen. 163 run meters, 105 of those coming from kick returns. 37 made tackles, 2 missed, but whatever. We've got to pick someone. Anyway, that'll do for this week. Another disappointing game. Still winless for the season, but did score points. I was really hoping that these early season videos wouldn't go for as long. The grand final video from last year ended up being 15 minutes, and my phone almost caught fire as I was trying to edit it. Not the case. These are going to be long as they keep doing annoying and dumb things. I will put the whole thing on Substack if you want to read it. Spelling errors and all, and without ad-libs. So if you're interested in that, have a look. But otherwise, back on Wednesday to preview the game against the Storm on Friday. Can't wait.